my name is Wolfram Kriesing. As I said, I'm doing JavaScript already. I did my first full pure JavaScript job in 1999, and I didn't know what it was expecting me. So somebody wanted a Flash page to be converted to JavaScript, and I was like, sure, I'll try it. Like, no clue. So now it's almost 20 years later, and about 8 years ago, I was in a project with a small company, and we had really lots of testing problems. Or actually, we had quality problems. We didn't know that we had really testing problems. We had quality problems. We had regression errors coming back always over and over again. And then a colleague of mine said, let's invite somebody who knows. And we invited J.B. Rainsberger, and he just spent 2 days with us, but this was just changing all my views on how to do software completely. I thought after those 2 years I was relearning it again, from zero, from scratch. And since then, I think it took me 2 or 3 years to really get through a deep valley of understanding how to do test-driven development. And I did it very wrong in the beginning. I still do it wrong lots of times. That's why I would like to do a little bit of live coding with your help to attack one simple problem that I just wanted to solve over in the last week. And I thought, why not do it together? It's a very simple one, but I would like to, rip it apart a little bit and do it test-driven. So who does test-driven daily? 1, 2, 3. Okay, afterwards, I mean, I'm doing the code retreat, what Jana said. It's actually an entire Saturday where people, I can actually show you. So it's the JS code retreat is an entire Saturday where we have 45 minutes sessions, normally 5 or 6 sessions of 45 minutes, and every session is only test-driven development. So in the beginning, if you don't know test-driven development, no problem. But I've heard a lot of people, after the 3rd session or something, they said, wow, this is fun. And that's what I want to hear, this is fun. Because if it's fun, you embed it into your daily work, I hope.
Well, when's the next event?
I actually changed the webpage before to !, 2017, and I'll reload it, damn it. Yeah, the next one, I did not yet determine when. But as you can see, it was a 10th edition in December, so
you're
if somebody comes,
you're looking for a host for whole Saturday?
Yeah, if somebody comes this Saturday is free, then I will be there. I help you run it. Because it's basically, I only, set the structure or help setting the structure. Doing is everybody on his own. It's pair programming all the time, or sometimes mob programming. That's really fun. I mean, we did it once, and then they said, okay, it's the 4th session, do you want to do another mob programming session? They said, no, let's continue. And they were doing this mobbing for 2 hours, and they really enjoyed it, because, when you get into the team dynamics and it works, it's really fun. So the code retreat is about testing development. What I wanted to say is people say afterwards, sometimes this is fun. This brings fun back into development. So I would like to, with you, this is my blog I just started a little while ago, and so what I would like to do with you is take this little search box here on the right, and basically implement this search, so that we type a word, and it gets highlighted on the page. And that's all. So it's actually very simple, but I thought, well, we're in the front-end meetup, so we do something that is front-end related, right? So the first thing is, we want to do a test-driven. So how would you start? Any proposals? I take any recommendation. Yes?
Can you be more specific what exactly you want to do after you type something?
Okay, yeah. Very good. So I type here, for example, pulp, and then I want this pulp to be basically surrounded by the mark tags, you know, the HTML mark tags. That would be my idea.
What happens with all these special symbols,
Like,
like space and hashtag and all this stuff?
that's what we're gonna find out. I
And
mean,
like-
I have no really requirement document or something. If we say we want to do it this because it's cool, we do it. The only thing I would like to do is, you know, bring the test-driven into play, and I will take care of that. Yes.
How many inputs do you have on the page?
Inputs, input fields like this.
Only one?
It's actually the one I just edited this morning.
Okay, so then I would start with getting the value.
Getting the value.
I would start with opening the page, filling in the field, and providing some examples which you can look for.
So that you mean example in terms of we all understand what it looks like, or
Yeah, like the example content.
that's the content. It's there. So it's a blog.
So this is the mock of the content.
Yeah. Yes.
Before they read the fails machine.
Okay, we do it. Well, I like this guy. Sorry if I have preference here. I like unit tests that fail. True. But the problem is we had approaches here. Which unit test do we write that fails? So you said you want a unit test that fails. You had an approach. You wanted to get the input.
Value to
Yeah.
that can fail or whatever.
So
I have a question. Do we write the unit test, integration test, regression test, or what? If you talk about the unit test, I would do the unit testing. That means that you have to create the module. There is like the
So,
list of
let's
posts and so
put it this way. I'm only set up for throwing some JavaScript into the page. So it will probably be some unit test. So now that the steering of mine didn't work exactly the way I wanted, let's get some big text blob and let's give it a search string and do something.
So we are only testing the search box.
The search box and the result. So
First of all, you need an input field.
yes. So you can see all the page, the code. So I'm triggering it basically. So we want the test suite, we have it described, and we want to search the site content and mark it, right? Whoops. So what I would suggest to start out with is marks A in ABC. So we're picking basically the very simplest thing that this thing has to do. It has to find an A in ABC. So then you will see right away what I mean by what the search shall do. So we need some function, let's say mark text, and we pass in the A, and from this we get out a marked text, right? And that we want to. So what I did, I actually implemented code already, but there's a way of writing tests is where you, which I think also makes most sense. The more you think about testing, is writing the assertion first. So what do I want to test? I actually do that second now. So I say assert equal that marked. So it's this text. We're searching for this search string, and now we have to say where we are searching it in this. This is our the body, the HTML. So we are expecting marked to return something like, that's what I mean by the mark, A, B, C. You know what I mean? Yes? So basically this mark text is our function that then gets the search string and gets the body from somewhere. So now I let this run, and I have what you wanted. We have a failing test.
Yeah.
And actually, let's make it green, yes. So, and since I'm quite a fan of this IDE, I create a function, mark text. So there it is. I just used a shortcut to create that function. And I only do now what is said there. There it says mark text is not defined. So I run the test again. Okay, now the error message changed. Actually, it moved me forward, right? It did make me see something, learn something. And even better would have been if I would have asked, what will the test result be? Because then I can compare what I expected to what actually happened, and the difference is basically what I've learned. And if you do that all the time with every test, you're learning a lot during the day. So, here it says, expected this, but got undefined. The solution, yes?
Just return the string.
Let's return the string. So I take this string and return it. All right, it's green. And actually, I configured my IDE so that it highlights unused and useless and stupid and wrong things. So I would like to remove those now, because I don't need them. If I'm pulled away from the project now, I would have left dead code in there. So I don't want to do that. But that's my thing. Okay, we have one test. What's the second test? We have first failing. We have written it, we have agreed, so now.
I will check if mark text A is the same. The first parameter is A, the second ABC A. And if this result is mark A, BC, mark A.
Sorry, I didn't get that. The test will be, let's write the assertion. Yes? So,
Or should I
what's the test description? Can you make it?
Marks A in ABCA, right? That was the
yes,
request.
exactly.
Okay, marks A in ABCA.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So now let's do it right. Let's assert equal the marked thing, which we don't have, shall be what?
Mark A, closing mark,
Yes.
BC, mark A.
Okay, you're not starting with the simple stuff, right? That's fine with me. I mean, there's different people who do different kinds of ways of testing, and I think it's really interesting to pair with others who do it completely different.
Yeah.
I've done it with a guy, we were writing 3 tests and then we were refactoring writing code for an hour.
Oh wow.
That's not my style, but it was awesome to do it with him.
Okay, okay.
And so, people could say like, this is an integration test because it tests a lot now,
Yeah.
but, I think the borderline is sometimes very not clear. So we have marked text, and in there we have to pass A and ABCA. Okay, good. So that's what we expected, right? How do we fix it? Who wants to fix it with me? For me.
String replace.
String replace?
So in mark text you have.
I would like to get to green very fast. Very fast.
Create a if.
Right in if? What if?
Yeah.
So the first one is my search string, and the second is search in or.
If search in equal.
Yeah. Easy one.
Search in. Yes?
Yeah, the
Like this? Let's do this. Because I can just pull this up. Like this and this. And move it back here. We should be. Okay. But
I would suggest to write a test with a random string A.
how do we test a random string? So what we can do? I mean, what you don't like is this code, right? And
It's
then-
okay, it's okay.
No.
Be honest!
I agree with you because it's not generic. It just works for those 2 cases.
Right.
We need a switch statement.
Okay, I would say, still, currently the pain up there in line 4 and 5 is existent, but it's not so big. So I would like to have another test that actually maybe like peels out the solution and maybe replace problem. Sometimes we don't, and be prepared to be surprised by test-driven development because it's really fun. I can tell you, it's the most fun if you've never done it. You just write out the solution the way you think it might be without tests. And then you say, okay, now I think about what's the first test. Write this, just this piece of code. Write the second test, just this piece of code. And then you compare it to the solution that you wrote without tests. I tell you, you will be surprised. I've seen a lot of people that said like, damn it, I was writing 20 lines of code, but now I just need 3 characters or something. Not that you were being smart, it's just that there was not much more in this problem actually. And that happens very often, that we just don't see it, but we just program. I do that too. So that's why I would say the pain up there is not too big yet. So I would like to drive it out with another test.
Just my random.
But random, how do we do this? What do we then compare?
Marks random in random. So what do I mean?
Okay. Let me write the test.
It marks random in random.
It marks
Random in random.
random. Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I understood something else.
Then var marked.
Marked.
I'm not sure if it will work with const. Then the first parameter will be rand.
Random.
You have to probably not to call the mark tag, but
Okay, let's do the assert first. So we know what we want to get to.
I will start with the variable first.
But you know what you want to test?
Yeah.
So tell me what you want to test.
So variable a rand equals rand, and then to look at mark rand mark.
You can translate for me, maybe I
If you start with variable a equals rand, is a function, JavaScript function.
Should I write down?
Can you help me?
Yeah,
You need to generate random string.
Do you really want to
I call
generate
it fixtures in my unit testing.
If you know what he means?
I guess so.
Okay.
Germany.
Then
It's
Oh, you want to do it with math random?
or whatever.
Yeah.
But how do we do it when there was a random test, a random input? How do
Yeah.
we assert a certain output?
Can
Can you just write the code?
Let's do it. I want to see.
You can build
function.
No, I
One test. Yeah, so I don't know the keyboard layout. And just put on the.
And add the mark in beginning and in the end.
This was what you meant, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, the idea is interesting, the idea of creating random test scenarios. The only problem is that how do you create the correct result? So if you want to search a random string into a random other string, how do you express the correct solution to this search? The only way to do it is if you have the correct interpretation of the marked text function. So if you have a pattern against which to test, right? So if you create a random string and you want to see the marked version into another random string, the only way is to express the assertion is if you have a way of transforming these two into the marked version.
But is there any logical sense in so unless you do the code review, how would you fix the function? Because you can add as many tests as you want, but you'll still have a good result with switch and if statement.
At one point, the complexity of the function becomes so big that because what he is going for is to construct a function based on k level.
I think I see where you're getting. It's you basically want to say some string.
Now I get it.
That was your idea.
But
No, I guess.
you know, there's actually a kind of testing which is called property-based testing, where you can say, for example, my input is a number between 0 and 3. So my output has to be a number between 10 and 30. So you're basically just defining the properties of your input and your expected output. And then it generates tests. And the cool thing about that, it generates different tests every test run. It generates like 100 or 1,000 tests for every test run. So that gets maybe close to what you want to do.
I use in Laravel and this factory that creates, for example, I need some data.
Yeah.
So
So
it just creates the different random stuff there. That's where I get this idea.
yeah. So, but in this case, we actually want to drive our algorithm forward, our mark text. So I see the use in here. I mean the what you want to do. I mean we can basically do it, but I would rather go and say, okay, what we have here is we want to get rid of this if. We want to have the replace function. So we could do probably also say, you know, I take an empty string and it should become an empty string. It's it will also force us to fix this up.
And I would also have said
I
that.
used,
And
I used to write if.
And I think this here is also kind of blurring the intent, because the math random seems to have a meaning, but it doesn't have a meaning really. You know, we actually could also say there's 7 always there. You know what I mean? It doesn't add any value. I think it just makes our tests more complicated to read, because it is random, so we have to think like, what could it generate? What's the purpose here? And why do we want something random?
Yeah, you can rename the test to marks A in N in AABC with salt.
With the salt, yeah. Okay.
I think his main concern is that you can theoretically express the primary function as a series of if switch statements, which will always test against your
Yes,
test
you can,
code.
but you never can write all the tests.
Well, we could do a solution to this if you use a dictionary and really do all this.
Oh, no.
So you never have to do it.
There was a question?
No, I had an idea. Can we put a spy on the replace?
Okay, we're jumping.
Oh, yeah.
Let's. I would say let's keep this, for example. Let's take the cons here. I don't care. The only thing is we will never have a deterministic test output, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of that. So I would rather say let's do the simplest thing, mark text. And what I want to get out is the same thing again. So this will also fail. And it's actually simpler. A simpler test, and it will fail, and it will actually force us to make this better here. So
Come on, let's add if.
so let's, in the end, you can do that if you want to. But you also, at some point, want to, you know, add value and make your code really work.
I would even express that differently, that you want to respect the principles of clean code. So your function should not grow in an unusual way,
I
right?
mean, you can create more ifs, and then you can say, now I need to refactor.
Exactly.
What's the pattern in there? Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting.
Yes.
The code should grow based on the
This is
chain
so
level.
simple that we actually say, we know we want the replace, so let's do the replace. So what do we want to replace? We want to replace in the search string. No, that's not true. The search in, right? Search in, we want to replace the search string with something like mark. And the search string again. True? So I'm leaving the code down here because I don't know if this return works. So why should I remove it? Doesn't work. What did I break?
Yeah, because you have a search string of nothing and you return mark nothing.
It does before.
Well, it only does it for one occurrence. But we had the second test, that's why I said you want to go complex right away. We had the second test where we searching for 2 occurrences.
That's why you had to start with the right code in the first place.
So what we can do here is we can say our regular expression, or let's do this into a variable, which we call regular expression. And we make a new regular expression out of it, where we say this has the global, which means any number of occurrences, and let's replace it.
You should change the name of that last test.
That-
It
that-
still talks about random
So
and
that's
random.
the wrong thing, right? Marks.
It fails because we are marking the empty string with mark empty string.
Right.
That's right. So here we leave the if. Why not? If search string, my thinking, my search string is nothing, what do we return? Return search in. Okay, we got this pre, so we're just removing our ifs here. And then we can say like it's a guard clause. It basically is like preventing, some special behavior. But we actually wanted to have that in the web page. So the way I want to show you is this is, here we did test drive the thing, and here in this atom I've prepared the web page. We just paste in our mark text function. We actually have the same interface here, where we are calling it. And it takes the search string as the first one, and actually in here, those 3 lines, I make it bigger. In those, I pasted the mark text function just inside this web page I showed you before. Down there, this replace in page function, I wrote that before, and that is basically you doing all the external dependencies interaction, I would say, which is providing a function for doing it with search string. Up here, it's being called. And then it's doing this HTML magic that I don't want to have in my tests, which is doing, document query, query selector, or whatever. And currently, it's just taking the entire blob. It's inner HTML and hardcore replacing it, which is ugly. But hey, it's the first version. Yes.
You need to run extra tests, like searching for a backslash or for a bracket.
And I would suggest
That's the good thing. We can, extend our thing. We can say, what about upper, lowercase? What about spaces in between? What about an asterisk? And so on. And we can make this thing grow. So
Constructive rabbits would throw an error.
I put it on GitHub. Everybody can then contribute to my blog.